What's good, elevators? It's your guy, Elevation, back again with a fresh episode of JBP Elevated, where we break down the Joe Budden podcast and every co-host who rotates in and out of that seat. Now, dang, y'all did not have to come at my neck like that over the ice video. I was literally just trying to show my guy a little appreciation. Anytime I go in on him or the pod, y'all say, yeah, cook him, he earned that. But the second I press anybody else, it turns into, damn, you going too hard. Then I try to show some love and suddenly I'm soft and need to cancel the show and do all this extra nonsense? What? Anyway, I just finished watching today's episode of the JBP. The episode was titled Company Tardy Policy, and per usual, Joe somehow managed to blame the audience for whatever tension exists behind the scenes and how his co-hosts or new hires feel on the show. He starts saying he doesn't care that Mona was late because she's a new hire. She apparently lives a million miles away, so he's trying to give her that courtesy. Not exactly leniency, but let's be honest, that's exactly what it is. And he's basically telling us to suck it up, shut the hell up, and give her grace. Now, to be fair, I actually did start giving her grace because y'all weren't wrong. We probably were coming down a little too hard on Mona when everybody else messes up too. But nah. You're not about to turn around and blame us, because clearly something was off with her performance, and if she was really killing it like you claim, she wouldn't have been late again today. Why did she suddenly show up on time if being late was supposedly no big deal? And instead of addressing the real critiques, you decided to shine a spotlight on company tardy policies. Because the real issue with Mona has been that she talks way too much. She doesn't pick her spots. She doesn't really vibe with the guys. She's not even trying to coexist or be cohesive with the team. She's just talking to be talking. So I did my due diligence to see if this is really who she is, and once I looked closer, I was like, okay, I get why acclimating has been rough for her. But let's be real, you clearly had an issue with it too, because if we line up the last two episodes with this one and compare talk time, it's easily a 50 to 80% swing. I'm not whining about it, I'm just clocking it, especially since you try to act like it wasn't a thing. You keep saying what she's doing isn't a big deal, so make up your mind, Joe. Make up your mind. That said, I'm not mad. I can't pretend I didn't notice the adjustment. And shout out to Mona, because last time she was here, she definitely read the audience comments.
Y'all know she did, and she doubled down. Because when ego gets involved, that's usually how it goes. It's always fight or flight. And last time she chose fight. This time around, she chose flight. She said, you know what? Let me try what y'all are suggesting. And a lot of people were telling her to shut up, pick your spots better. Boom. She did exactly that. And the episode flowed smoothly. But then, that's when my third eye kicked in. I could already see where this was headed. I could already see it. And this is where it actually does land on us, the audience, because Joe and Mona were right to call out how we move. Here's the third option nobody wants to talk about. She's going to talk less, she's going to be more selective, she's going to blend in where she fits, and then we're going to complain that she doesn't bring the same energy she had at the start. Next thing you know, it's Mona isn't funny anymore. She's not cracking jokes anymore. She's barely speaking at all. And honestly, it's starting to look like what we're watching happen with Queen's Flip right now. The very traits that supposedly make you great end up being the same things that trigger your decline. Sometimes they contribute to the fall, and sometimes they are the fall. So here we are. Now she's probably about to go on a run of solid episodes, unless she pulls what she hinted at last week, where she stays calm on the main pod and then wilds out on Patreon. If that happens, I'll be like, all right, salute. But if she's quiet on Patreon too, then it's like, oh boy, I already see where this is headed. It's the same cycle all over again. So salute to Joe for putting his foot down and backing his co-host. Because yes, sometimes you actually need that. Players want their coach to step in front of the cameras and say, yeah, he had a bad game, but there were a lot of factors working against him. I expect a bounce back. He's better than that. That's exactly what Joe just did for Mona. Now let's see if she actually appreciates the pep talk. Let's see if she recognizes how he redirected all the heat away from her. Because in this scenario, we're the audience, but we're also the media. Let's see if she capitalizes on that protection and comes out swinging over the next few months. People I know for a fact folks were canceling subscriptions. People were saying, yeah, this is my last month, and their wallets backed it up. To the point where Joe had to acknowledge it, to the point where he had to make it the title of the episode. And then when you actually get into the episode itself, a lot of people are calling it out. They're saying, Joe's too rich for this, Joe doesn't even want a pod anymore, Joe's not interested. Remember 9 or 10 months ago when I said his heart wasn't in it anymore, that he was quietly looking for an exit? Do y'all see any signs of that right now? No.
Because if you're watching from the outside, it just looks like he keeps hiring people. It looks like he's hiring non-stop to make the show better. But the way I see it, he's hiring until he finds that person, that one personality who can transition topics like Parks, bring energy like Mona and Flip, show up consistently like Ice, and have that real personal chemistry with Joe like Ish. And since that unicorn hasn't appeared yet, he has to stay put and act like he still wants to do this. Now, one thing he said did catch my attention. It's not enough for a whole video, because I'm not making a shard breakdown, but it definitely made my ears perk up when he said for her birthday she wants a content building hub. Then you pair that with all the hesitation around him getting married. Again, that's all I'm going to say on that. We just need to keep our eyes open. Joe doesn't want a podcast anymore. That part is obvious. So the real question is, where's the succession plan? They were literally talking about succession on today's episode, using the Lakers, Jeannie Buss, and the Buss family as examples of passing things down. Joe is clearly thinking in those terms, but then it's like, damn, who do I even pass this down to? He starts looking at Trey. Trey doesn't even want to do content. He's still at the beginning of his own journey. He's choosing the rap path. That's a 10 to 15-year grind before he even might pivot into content where Joe could game him up and pass the torch. And Lex is older, so that's not the move either. And I'm damn sure not handing it to my lady, which is why that 14-year engagement starts making a whole lot more sense. Anyways, Mona, you actually did your thing today. I wanted to make sure I said that out loud. But don't listen to us so much that you keep reshaping how you pod. I'll speak for myself, not everybody. When I get on this mic, I talk my talk after choosing a topic from today's episode or the last one I watched. But my opinion, and honestly most of the audience's opinion, doesn't really carry weight. That's basically what Joe was saying. So do what you need to do, listen to your boss, listen to the people whose opinions actually matter to you, and move accordingly. With that said, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Was Mona better? Was today's episode better overall? Did the chemistry feel tighter? All of that. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the page if you haven't, and if you already have, you know how we rockin'. You already know what type of time we on. We just gonna keep turning up. I'll catch y'all soon. Oh, before I sign off, make sure y'all check out the Patreon. Aw yeah, money. If you didn't hear, Joe had Rory's ex on the pod, and there were a few other things I peeped that I want to break down. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon and check that out. I'll see y'all soon, though. Peace.